and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jenny. Today's video is probably going to be a very long one because it is my big eyeshadow palette collection. As you can see, I have far too many eyeshadows, but I can't help myself. Eyeshadow is my absolute favorite. As with the rest of my collection videos, this may turn into a small declutter. There are a handful of things that I know I want to get rid of, so let's go ahead and start. So this first palette is the Tarte palette in collaboration with Graveyard Girl. It is the Swamp Queen palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. Has a really nice size mirror, and it comes with all of these lovely shadows in this little brush. So that's not a terrible brush. I'm gonna put this in a maybe pile, honestly, because I like these shadows. They're fine, but a lot of them have shimmer in them, and none of these face products work for me. This blush I can get to work. This is far too warm, and this highlight's way too glittery for my taste. So I am going to put this in a maybe pile. This next one is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. This is the original one. I know most people have honestly probably forgotten this palette because there's just so many things going on in the makeup community right now. So many new releases. But this is one of my all-time favorite palettes. I'm actually thinking of starting a series on my channel like makeup people have forgotten. I know it's been done before, and I'll try to figure out who did it first and I'll give them credit for it. But this is just a really nice palette that I don't even use that much anymore. So I am going to pull this out and start using it more because I really did love this palette. This next palette is the Urban Decay and Gwen Stefani collaboration. It also has a really nice size mirror on it. This was actually the first thing I ever reviewed on my blog, and I will link that blog post down below in case you are interested. And also, if I do have a video review or anything like that, I will have it linked up in the cards for you in case you're interested in checking out a review. But I actually really like this palette. The shadows are really nice and soft, and they blend really nice. I don't really use these down here a whole lot, but these neutrals are really gorgeous, and they apply really nicely, and I just really enjoy this palette. It's a really nice collab. So this big clunker was the first Sephora product I had ever received, ever. My step siblings got me this for Christmas like 250 years ago, and on the top it opens up and has a butt ton of eyeshadows, and then you slide these apart and it has lipsticks on the inside. And then you open this drawer and it's got some blushes and a bronzer and some, I think these are like gel liners that are probably all dried out by now. I know it's stupid, but I can't get myself to separate with this. I don't really know why. I mean, the shadows are still actually decent quality. Like, as far as, you know, these are pretty old shadows, but like the pigmentation is still really nice in all of these. So that's why I hang on to them. I maybe should pull this out and just start playing with it again because I haven't used any of these in a really long time, and especially since I can't bring myself to separate with it right now anyway. I'm sure I'll get rid of it eventually. So this next palette is the Urban Decay Electric palette, and this is a really fun palette. It has really cool pops of color in it that you don't see in a lot of normal palettes, and it has that double-ended brush that I very rarely use. But the colors are really super cool. The silver looks awesome on the lid, and so does this Jilted color. It's like a magenta with a purpley reflect in it. This is just a really cool palette, and it's really unfortunate that they discontinued it. They really should just bring this back, honestly. This next palette is the infamous Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I do have a blog post about this if you would like to check that out on my blog. I do enjoy this palette. The peachy shades are really nice in this palette. I do think it was way overhyped. I did pre-order this like an idiot. I'm not a huge fan of the scent. It's like that really crappy fake peach scent. It's not great. It's not like their chocolate scent and their other palettes, but this isn't a horrible palette. I do enjoy using it, so I will keep it, but I do think it is way overhyped. So these next three palettes are the Lorac Mega Pro palettes. I have the original, which I did not get during the original release of this palette. I did get it in a re-release. I have the Lorac Mega Pro 2, which was the first Mega Pro I ever bought, and this was actually the first Lorac product I ever bought. The Lorac Mega Pro 3, which I do have a tutorial using. I will link it up here for you in case you're interested in checking that out. And then the Lorac Mega Pro 4, which I do have a full review and a tutorial on. I will link it up here for you. These are really great eyeshadows, and the formula is awesome. The one that I would totally skip out on is this one because I was really disappointed when I first got it. All of these colors are the same. These are basically like 3 shades of black right here. This one's just super boring compared to the rest of them in my opinion. Overall, I really do like this line, like the Mega Pro line. They're really good shadows, and if you can get your hands on them without going to eBay and getting one that may be janky, I would totally do that because these are really good and the formula is really nice. This next one is the Kat Von D Shade and Light Eye palette. All of these are mattes except for like these two shades are like satiny kind of shades. So these are just more like the basic shadows, and I do like this formula. Kat Von D shadows aren't my absolute favorite formula, but I do like this palette in particular. And I like that it's kind of broken up into little quads, so like warm, cool, and neutral. This neutral quad right here is my all-time favorite go-to set of shadows, especially from this palette. I love to just kind of throw this all over the lid, the crease, the outer V, and the inner part of the eyelid, and it's just a really nice neutral everyday look. So this palette is very nice. This next palette is the Kat Von D Monarch palette. I did get this on a sale before they discontinued. I'm also going to put this in a maybe pile, because I don't reach for this all that often. It's mostly shimmer, and I'm never going to wear these shimmer shades all over the lid. This one is really gorgeous, though. I don't know. I don't reach for this a whole lot. This is also going to go in my maybe pile. This next one is the Morphe and Kathleen Lights collaboration. They released this, and no one ever talked about it. This is a gorgeous palette. She did a really, really good job with it, and it's sad that no one really talked about it, and I don't really know why. These shades are all absolutely stunning, and they apply really nicely, and I really enjoy using it. I just don't like using it on camera because they don't make it anymore, and so it's very hard to like be like, oh, I used this palette, but you can't get it anymore, you know. So I don't use it on camera, but I do use it a lot in my day-to-day life. It's really, really pretty, and I do enjoy using it, so I'm definitely going to hang on to it. I'm going to go ahead and get most of my Morphe palettes out of the way. This next one is the Morphe Brushes Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette. So this palette didn't have anything on it that was about Jaclyn Hill, so I took the box that it came in and cut it up and taped it on because I'm a janky hot mess like that. This was the first Morphe product I ever bought, and I really, really like this palette as well. Quality is obviously not nearly as good as like the newer palettes that have come out, because this was like before they even got really, really big. But these shimmers in here are really, really nice. Especially this gold kind of shade right here is really super pretty. This is a really pretty palette, so I'm going to hang on to it for now. This next Morphe palette is the ever so infamous 35O. It really got the warm shadow trend going. Like the warm burnt oranges and stuff, this really kind of set the bar for that. And while I do think that this is a good palette, I really do, I enjoy using it, I don't think it's phenomenal like everyone made it out to be in the Morphe craze, you know, like it's good and the shadows are very pretty. They apply decent. They're still not fabulous, but you know, for the price, they're pretty good. Overall, this is good. It just was overhyped. This next one's the Morphe 35K, and it is the more cool tone, more neutral tone palette, and I do like it. These grays down here can kind of get a bit muddy, but these browns up here and like these shimmeries are pretty nice. I did do a tutorial with this palette, and I will link it up here for you in case you are interested, but overall I do like this palette, and I don't think that this one's talked about enough. The 35O was talked about too much, and this one's not talked about enough, because I do think that these cooler tone shades are really, really nice. I do hope that the cool tone, more neutral tone shades will come back into trend instead of the warm palettes, because I feel like these shadows are a little more interesting to look at now, where everything's so saturated with warm tones. So this next one was like holiday 2015-2016 Tarte. It's this big bulky zipper pouch thing. On the inside, you get all of these eyeshadows right here, which I thought was going to be awesome. You got a mascara, which I threw away, a double-ended brush, this mirror, and then this little palette too that came with eyeshadows, a bronzer, a blush, and a highlighter. So I was like, awesome, look at all the cool stuff you get. This little palette by itself is not bad, but all of these eyeshadows right here are garbage. They are horrible. You can't get hardly any pigmentation out of any of the mattes except for these dark ones, and they go on super patchy. The shimmers in this section are horrible. These shadows and the face products are actually really nice, but I don't reach for them at all, and so I'm just going to give this whole entire thing away to someone who may like to play around with color and textures and stuff like that. This next one is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. This one also got a lot of hype, which I still kind of don't agree with. This is a really nice palette. I do really enjoy it. Once again, did a tutorial with it. We'll link it up here for you. The shadows in here are beautiful and they apply really nice, but once again, I just think that this was totally overhyped. I do really enjoy it though, so I am going to hang on to it. This next one is the Smashbox Shape Matters palette. I really like this palette because it's a very well-rounded palette. One, it has this phenomenal mirror at the top, but you also get these brow products, face products, eyeshadows. This brush is really kind of crappy, but overall this palette is really, really nice. The shadows have a really interesting kind of formula to them, and the face products perform amazingly. So I totally recommend this palette. Once again, I do totally recommend this palette. I do have a review and demo. I will link it up here for you in case you're interested in that, but overall, beautiful palette. This next one is the Too Faced Chocolate Bonbon palette. The other chocolate bar is kind of more neutrally, kind of a little bit warm, where this one is very cool tone. Where this one's more cool tone. I really like this. It gives you kind of like these really nice pops of pink in it. This really cool like gray blue shade is really nice. This Bordeaux shade's great. I really like this palette as well. This next one's the Bad Habit Retro Love palette. I do have a review of this. I will link it up here for you in case you are interested. I really do like most of the looks that I get from using this palette. I don't really reach for this a whole lot now. I'm going to hang on to it for a little bit, put it in my maybe pile, and see how I feel about it later. I'm going to try using it a couple more times. I think I'll try using it more in the fall, actually, because these colors scream fall to me. But yeah, so I'm going to hang on to it for now and then see how I feel about it later. This next one is the Nubian palette by Juvia's Place. I have a review and demo. I will link it here for you in case you're interested. I raved about this palette. This palette is absolutely stunning and I love every single second of it. It's such a nice neutral palette. It's a really good one. Definitely check it out if you're in the market for a nice neutral palette. This next one is the Saharan 2 palette by Juvia's Place, and oh my gosh, look at its beauty. I love this palette so much. I have a review of it up here in case you're interested. Oh my goodness gracious, I love every single second of this palette. It is stunning. I need to get more Juvia's Place palettes because the quality of the Juvia's Place palette, it can't be beat. Truly, the palettes are great quality. This next one is the Hard Candy, I don't even know what this is called, Look Pro Eyeshadow Pro palette. And as you can tell by the color scheme in this palette, it's definitely a dupe for the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette. The quality of this palette is not great. The mattes are okay. They're not terrible, but they're not fabulous. The quality of the palette is just fine. The mattes are decent, but the shimmer shades are like garbage. They're really bad. I'm gonna get rid of this. It's just not that great. And I think I have a friend, she does some funky art projects sometimes where she incorporates different types of mediums into her artwork, so she could actually use this in some of her art if she wants. I don't care what happens to this. So I am gonna go ahead and pass this on. It's not that great. So this next palette is the infamous Jaclyn Hill palette with Morphe. This palette is absolutely gorgeous. I definitely think this one's worth the hype. The shades blend gorgeously. They apply amazingly. I just love every single second of this palette. Truly. I truly love every single second of this palette. Every shade applies nicely except for this one. What is this one called? 24/7. I do not like that shade. But the rest of them play really nice on the eyes. It's just gorgeous. It really is. I don't like that the shade names aren't down here, so I did tape the little shade name card up here. But overall, this palette is just gorgeous. I do have a first impressions kind of tutorial video of this palette, and I will link it up here for you in case you are interested in that. This next palette is the Bad Habit Athena palette, and I will link my review of this palette up here for you in case you are interested. I do really love this palette. It's gorgeous. These shadows are truly beautiful. The shimmers apply nicely if you have a glitter glue, and these mattes blend really nice. The colors in here are absolutely gorgeous, and I just really like this palette a lot. Whittling down the collection. This next one is the Urban Decay Naked 2 palette. This was my first high-end palette, and that's why I can't get rid of it. Otherwise, I would. Because these shadows, there's nothing really wrong with these shadows. There's only 3 mattes in this palette, and then the rest are shimmers, and it's very hard to get a look out of here that doesn't look muddy because of all the shimmer, because you gotta kind of put shimmers in the crease in order to deepen looks, and you know, I'm done. I can't keep it anymore. I just talked myself out of it. It was lovely having you around, and I appreciate you being my first palette, but you just don't do it for me anymore, Naked 2. I'm so sorry. I've got to get rid of you. Progress, guys. It's called progress. So this next one is the Sephora Collection Minnie Mouse palette. And this palette is so cute. I am a Disney fanatic, and so when they came out with this palette, I just had to have it. The shades in here are really nice, and they apply really nice and blend really great, actually. I have had not so great experience with Sephora brand shadows in the past, but they really did a good job with this collection. I love the pops of color in here, and the names are just really super cute. This next palette is the Riverdale eyeshadow palette from Hot Topic. I do have a review and demo up here in case you're interested. This palette is actually really nice. I was super surprised. I had never tried Hot Topic brand makeup before, but I was really surprised with the quality of this palette. It's really super nice, actually. I am going to hang on to this for now because I do enjoy using this palette. This next one is the Pretty Vulgar Early Bird eyeshadow palette. This is what it looks like on the inside. It reminds me a lot of the Naked 3 palette with the nice rosy tones, except I had the Naked 3 palette and I hated it. I actually really enjoy these shadows. They apply nicely, they blend really nice, these shimmers are gorgeous. So next we have the Kat Von D Mi Vida Loca palette. Oh my goodness gracious. I love this palette. I know a lot of people really, really like this palette. The shades in here are truly, truly beautiful. I love how it has the nice neutrals in the center with the pops of color all around it. She should just re-release this and let other people get their hands on it because the quality is gorgeous. The artwork is beautiful. She really, really did a good job with this palette. Truly, she should just bring it back because it is absolutely amazing. And then there were 3 Morphe palettes left. So these first 2 palettes are the 25A and the 25B. They're decent and they're fine and they get the job done, but I never, ever reach for these. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of the 35A with the like golds and coppers in it because I truly never reach for this, and put this one in the maybe because I do really enjoy this color scheme. It's got that nice like the berries and the burgundies in it, so I am gonna go ahead and hang on to this one and decide later. And the last palette is the biggest palette that I own, and it is the Morphe Dare to Create 39A palette. I did do a review and demo of this big buddy, and it is right over here in the corner for you in case you are interested. This palette is beautiful with all the pops of colors, and it's huge. You could create lots and lots of looks with this. My only real critique is that there aren't any light shimmers or light mattes. Like, they could have got rid of some of these and some of these browns up here. There's just so many shades that are too similar in my opinion. But other than that, I really like the colors. The quality is really nice, so I am definitely holding on to this one. So while I was editing, I realized I forgot 3 palettes, so here is future Ginny adding these in. This palette that I have is the Wizardry and Witchcraft palette by Storybook Cosmetic. The inside does have some really nice pops of color, like these blue, green, red shades, and then some nice neutrals as well. I did do a review and demo. It will be up here for you in case you are interested. It is one of the first ones, so please don't judge me. It's pretty rough. The next one is the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs palette by Besame Cosmetics. Do have a demo and review of that up here in case you are interested. The inside of this palette is truly beautiful. All of these are matte and all of these shades are from the actual movie, like the swatch colors that they used to actually make her dress and her skin tone and everything. So that's really, really interesting about this palette. And the last one is the Tale as Old as Time Beauty and the Beast palette by Lorac Cosmetics. This was my very, very first YouTube video I ever did. Please don't laugh at me. The review and the demo is up here if you are interested. The inside is absolutely beautiful. It does have this brush that gets stuck to the magnet, but it has some really nice like blues and pinks and stuff in it. It's just really, really pretty. So I really do like all 3 of these palettes. So that has been my big eyeshadow palette collection. I do have 4 eyeshadow palettes I'm giving away and 4 in my maybe pile. So I do think that that is progress. And you know what? Truly, as much as I love this, I am going to give it away. Like I said about the Hard Candy palette, I think my friend could use this in her artwork. So I am just going to go ahead and give her this. Because I never use it. And I'm just keeping it, and it's so big and taking up so much space. So I am just going to give this away. So I am giving away 5 things, guys. Look at that. I am so proud of myself. You have no idea. The next video in this series that I'm going to be doing is going to be lip products. I do have a lot of lip products, so it's going to be separated between lipsticks, lip glosses, and liquid lipsticks. I think lipsticks is probably going to be first, so that will be next, and it's going to be long just like this one, so stay tuned for that. So that is all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and if you would like to subscribe, please feel free, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.